do 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 do. Well, note to self, never doing that again. But anyway, hey guys, welcome back to the channel, guys. So glad to be back. Also, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everyone had a safe holiday and a safe January. Sorry it's been taking a while for me to get these videos to come out, guys. I'm working as hard as I can, while also trying to get my bills paid. But hopefully you guys are doing okay out there too. I know the world's crazy right now, but that's why we make these videos. In today's video of Sly Cooper, we're going to be ranking some of Sly's best operations, ranking them from worst to best. Now, this is another video that I've been waiting a while to do because Sly Cooper's missions are some of the most fun things about it. And I said in the missions list, and what I said in the missions list about how like the operations would rule the top 10, well, yeah, this is basically what this is going to be about, because the operations to me are some of the greatest missions in Sly Cooper, and it wouldn't have been fair to the other missions if the operations were put in that list before. So today, we're just going to rank the operations solely. If you want like regular missions, check out the other two videos about it on the best and worst Sly Cooper missions. Aside from that, let's jump right to it. So, I don't really have a set of rules for this other than the fact that this is just solely operations. No set of rules in particular here, just I'm ranking them based on what operations I liked the best and what operations I didn't like at all. So, aside from that, let's get into this video, guys. Sit back, enjoy the ride, grab some snacks, and let's get to it. This is going to be a long one. Number 18. Operation Moon Crash from Sly 3. This one and number 17 easily tie for my least favorite operations in the entire franchise. I'd even say number 16 as well, but I'd really have to think about it going forward. But as of right now, Operation Moon Crash to me just isn't anything super special. I mean, the operation sounds kind of fun, you know, but at the same time, you know, it's just like, it doesn't feel like an operation made for Sly. So here's what I mean when I say that. So in this operation, we have to use Murray to do a belly flop on the Mask of Dark Earth in order to destroy it. But we have to take out this gyrocopter first before we can do that, because the gyrocopter is going to give away our position. That using the guru to take out the gyrocopter can be a bit annoying, and it can be repetitive. And this mission, this operation in general, just I don't know. The first part of it was just like super boring to me, even though things did kind of pick up near the end when Carmelita ended up getting the mask on her face and she ended up growing and growing and growing, and oh my goodness, look at Sly's face, and growing and growing until she became Karma larger, and basically she chased us all the way to Ayers Rock. It was just, that second part of the mission semi-saves this operation, but not enough for me. But you know, the operation isn't too boring. It just, the first half of it just doesn't make any sense to me. The second half does kind of pick up a bit, but again, action-packed Sly is not my favorite type of Sly. I prefer the sneaking around Sly and using action when it's necessary, but they like throw it really in your face here. Number 17. Operation Reverse Double Cross from Sly 3. So this operation has the opposite problem that Moon Crash has. As to where with Moon Crash it felt kind of boring, with Operation Reverse Double Cross it got too action-packed. So the problem I have with this is the problem I have with Sly 3, and I know some people think I'm being a bit too redundant with this, but again, I just do not like action-packed Sly. It just does not suit me. You know, I do like some action in Sly, but I don't want it to be the main focus of Sly. Even though, as much as I love Captain LaFouille from Sly 3 and his villain presence in this entire series, I just think that his operation is definitely one of the worst ones in my opinion because of the specific Sly game that he's in. Let's go over the operation. Captain Lafouille captured Penelope earlier in this world, and we have to save her. So after traveling all throughout Bloodbath Bay to gain any advantage that we could use, we get into a ship fight with Lafouille, and we manage to take down his ship. But we're not gonna sink it because Penelope is possibly on that ship. So instead what we do, we hop onto Lafouille's ship, and Lafouille thinks we're stupid because we hopped onto a ship full of deadly, dangerous pirates. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get Lafouille to figure out, to tell us where Penelope is. At first, it seems like Penelope was locked up back at Skull Keep on Bloodbath Bay, but he lied to us, obviously, and it seems like Sly gets blown up, but, you know, Sly survives. He's the main title of the game, so... But afterwards, we do learn that Penelope is on the ship because of that, but Bentley's able to use Crusher, who was actually being mind controlled by the Guru, and we use Crusher to stop any pirates that try to stop or kill Bentley while he's trying to rescue Penelope. We rescue Penelope, but in a strange twist of events, Bentley ends up getting KO'd by Sly by accident as he's paragliding towards the situation, and Lafouille's about to kill Bentley. But Penelope comes in and rescues Bentley. So they did kind of reverse the role here of damsel in distress, so I'm glad they did that. And Penelope and Lafouille get into a sword fight up top the mast. And the sword fight, depending on the player, can be either a hit or a miss. For me, it's okay. You just have to figure out when to use the correct buttons at a certain point, because Lafouille is a master at this. He's been doing this for years. So if you don't know what buttons to press, you're gonna get killed in this quickly. Even though Lafouille's game over screen is actually pretty darn... There's a bit of dark humor behind it. I would say. And then, when we do beat Lafouille, his ending's actually pretty gruesome. And again, it's a really gruesome ending for him. I'm not gonna tell you what happens, but he really does. He really does bite the dust after this. So anyway, overall, the operation, it's okay. I like it better than Moon Crash, definitely, but it still isn't enough to like go any higher on this list, and I prefer this one over Moon Crash, definitely, but it's not like one of my more favorite operations in this series. Number 16, Jurassic Thievery from Sly 4. Okay, so as I was sitting down and really thinking about this, Jurassic Thievery I actually like much better than the last two on this list, mainly because with Jurassic Thievery they throw a lot of different elements at you that involve sneaking around. So again, all is forgiven, even though I do not like the villain in this area or the area in general. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about the operation. So what do I think about the operation? There's some fun to this. There's a lot of sneaking around that you have to do, you know, and even though I'm not a huge fan of Bob Cooper, his areas are actually pretty entertaining in this operation. And all the while, you know, we still got the budding romance between Sly and Carmelita. That's, you know, that's kind of, depending on the viewer, can get kind of a bit weary, or, you know, it still provides that comedic genius for a lot of fans. I definitely still like it, you know. I just wish that we would finally figure out if these two are meant to be together or not. But anyway, back to the operation. There's some fun in this operation, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, I have to play this operation over and over again. I'm definitely not saying that. The one thing that drives me away from this operation is the fact that there's some elements to it that get a bit repetitive, or just get a bit, you know, like, what the heck. Like, I know for me, the ice skating part with the boss fight between Murray and the Grizz, that ice skating section just doesn't make any sense to me. Even though I do appreciate they were trying to do something unique, which I can't fault. The one thing I love about Sly is that it's not afraid to try something unique or different. And when a video game does that, I'm more likely to try that than the same game that does the same formula over and over again. But yeah, so after the others manage to reach Murray in time, Murray is able to defeat the Grizz by himself. And even though the character arc for Murray in this world is definitely not his best one because it seems like they were trying to blatantly do a rehash of him with the Clockwork crushing Bentley and crippling him. And what they basically did was making Murray feel useless after he couldn't climb a wall, even though Murray is capable of so much more that climbing a wall should not be on his like list of, you know, like things that he wish he could accomplish. But again, I'm digressing here. Operation Jurassic Thievery, it's a fun mission. It's a fun operation, but not like this overly fun operation for me. Number 15. Altitude Sickness from Sly 4. This is Ryoichi's operation base level, and it's pretty decent. It's not like over the top for me, and I'll say I don't know how to describe this operation. It can be fun. It can be fun, but at the same time, like it doesn't feel like an operation that I would want to go back to, and I can't describe it. I don't know how to describe it. So let me talk about it. So basically, we have to stop El Jefe, but El Jefe manages to steal Ryoichi's cane, so that throws another element and a wild card in the mix, and it basically shows how Sly 4's gameplay is going to be throughout the whole entire run through. So we have to steal back Ryoichi's cane from El Jefe. You know, using Sly to travel across the area is fun to do. It is fun to do. The boss fight with El Jefe, though, it's good. It's good. It definitely will keep you on your toes. Just, you know, it'll keep you on your toes, definitely. But again, the fixed motion of the fight means that it's limited in what you can do and what you're supposed to do. As to where other boss fights, and yes, I will be talking about Sly Cooper boss fights in the future, guys, so be ready for that. It's coming in the future. But yeah, this boss fight, I just don't like how fixed it is compared to other boss fights where you have more free range and free motion, like, you know, the Contessa or Black Baron, or heck, even General Sal. But, you know, that's my personal issue with this operation. But aside from that, you know, operation's decent. Nothing too special about it. Number 14. Sometimes I feel so alone, I just don't know. Feels like I've been down this road before. So lonely and cold, like something takes over me as soon as I go home and close the door. Kinda feels like deja vu. I wanna get away from this place I do, but I can't, and I can't sing. But yeah, deja vu all over again from Sly 4. So, this is the most anticlimactic operation I've ever played, and it has such a slap in the face ending because we all know what happened after the ending of this game, but I'm still going to talk about it anyway. So, deja vu all over again, Sly 4. The one thing I do like about this mission is that they pull an Avengers Endgame style ending, in which after Carmelita and Sly get captured, they bring every Cooper ancestor that we came across during the game, so that we can pull this heist off. I tell you, when that first happened, I was jumping for joy and excitement. Like, this was my first Avengers Endgame moment. Like, the fact that they got half of the Cooper ancestors to come join this, it was just absolutely incredible and amazing to see. And it just makes me wish and hope that we could come across the other ancestors too one day, and maybe they can all just meet up together at like a party or something and just talk about the past and future. I don't know. Like, that was the best part of this whole mission to me, and getting to play as every character. Some characters I like better than others, you know, obviously like Tennessee Kid and, you know, Ryoichi I prefer playing over, you know, someone like Bob Cooper. But that's not to say that this is a bad operation. This operation is more like fan service to me, and I think it does it correctly, you know, even though it's not every ancestor that we use. I just personally think that this is a fan service that was supposed to be done right, and it is done right to a degree, but that ending just basically was a huge slap in the face to everyone and everything. And on top of that, once we use all the ancestors to get closer to Sly, and we reach Sly, and we have this boss fight with Captain LaFouille using Sly. The problem I have is that this boss fight is so stupid to me. It's so stupid to me. It's a jump time quick event boss fight, and on top of that, it just doesn't feel earned, in my opinion. This boss fight feels so forced to me. Even though we do end up beating Le Paradox in the end, it's basically a moot point because Le Paradox tries to escape anyway, and he ends up falling down to the river anyway. Sly has no way of getting off that aircraft, and now thanks to Sanzaru, sorry, I love you guys, but I have to do this for the video. Thanks to Sanzaru, Sly now stuck in Egypt for the better part of, what year is this, 2023? This game came out in 2012, 11 years now. What the heck? Oh no, wait, did the game come out in okay, it doesn't matter. The point is, Sly is stuck in Egypt now, with no way of getting out or getting home, with nothing from Sony, Sucker Punch, Sanzaru, nothing. So this is why this is the most anticlimactic ending for me in any Sly Cooper operation, because this operation could have just been a nice bow on top ending for everything, or if they wanted to continue the series, at least make another Sly game or a fan comic series or something. Let's move on. Let's move on. Love the fan service, hate the ending. Number 13. All rolled up from Sly 4. This operation is actually a ton of fun, but the only issue with this operation is it's very infamous in the Sly community because of one particular belly dance that seemed like it was fan service for a lot of the Rule 34 artists. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get back on topic here. Aside from that Rule 34 fan service, this operation is actually quite fun in the second half. Anyway, you know the belly. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm gonna have to edit this video. I'm sorry. So Carmelita has to do a belly dance to distract the guards. This is so bad. This is so bad. Oh my gosh. Okay. Just breathe, Lancey. Just breathe. Okay, so yeah, Carmelita has to do a belly dance to distract the guards while Sly, Bentley Murray, and Salim try to open the door. And what we see on the inside of the door is a huge ship, which is what's been causing everything that's been happening. And the fact that this ship has been invisible to the Cooper gang for the longest time too just shows how much power Le Paradox has. So, right when we think we have everything under control, first off, Le Paradox tricks us into thinking that we had everything under control. But he captured Carmelita. Then, on top of that, Ms. Decifo actually incapacitated Salim and stole his cane too. So that's a double whammy of bad luck happening. So, but, of course, you know, Le Paradox is a very sneaky individual. So he betrays Ms. Decifo, and Ms. Decifo is angry about this, and she's going to take her anger out on Sly afterwards. So, the boss fight to Ms. Decifo, I'm not gonna lie, I actually had quite a bit of fun with this. It was actually a really fun boss fight. For whatever reason, as much as I hate Ms. Decifo as a character, her boss fight was still actually pretty entertaining. Especially when you slow down time, you know, just to gain the advantage on her. That's a lot of fun. And boss fight aside, you know, I say that the RC section is actually pretty cool too. Even though, you know, again, I don't need to go into detail, but yeah, RC section is fun. It's really just the one thing that drags this mission down for me is that darn belly dance. I can't, anytime I play this game, I cringe every single time. It's just, oh my gosh, like, it really feels like the developers were trying to add too much fan service in this game, and some of it was good, and then some of it was like, what the heck are you doing? Number 12. Operation Tar Be Gone from Sly 3. This was the very first operation I played in a Sly game, and it definitely left a tone. It definitely left a good tone for me. So, this operation, we have to break into Don Octavio's opera house and go down to his tar vacuum area so that we can destroy it. And this area, it really sells the aspect of sneaking in, because, you know, we have to sneak in using the disguise we have. And, you know, when we get down there, we have to destroy all the pumps. But, of course, the guards hear about this. Or at least they hear the explosion and go down and see what's up. And they try to stop us, but we're able to destroy everything. Afterwards, we have to do an opera recital with Don Octavio. So, and this opera recital is very comical because Don Octavio is so good and Bentley is so bad, but you have to respect Bentley for at least giving it his all while doing this opera recital, because if you mess up, it will easily go left field if you mess up, because Don Octavio is such a professional that he has no problem letting people know if they suck at opera. So you have to be able to maintain the notes. You know, this is basically a quick time event. You just press the button that you need to press and then go on about the mission afterwards. So at first, it seems like we are able to capture Don Octavio, but of course, Carmelita, of all people, has to shoot down the lamp that we was going to drop on Don Octavio's head, and Don Octavio escapes afterwards. And with that, we have to chase down Don Octavio through Italy, and believe it or not, we end up actually going back to the same area we did the opera recital with Octavio at, and that's when Murray shows up, and Don Octavio blows up the building, attacks Bentley, and Murray finally snaps, and he decides to join back with the team and fight Don Octavio. And with the help of Sly and Murray are able to defeat Don Octavio using the tar pumps in the area, and the two manage to escape with Bentley just in the nick of time. Oh man, that took a lot out of me. But this operation, it's a lot of fun. I definitely love what they were going for with it, and every time I play this operation, it's a fun little joy to do, because it's like they really set the tone of what this game is. Considering that Sly 3 is my first Sly Cooper game, this operation definitely left a good tone of what an operation would be like in Sly. And even though I prefer the other operations from Sly 2, but we'll get to those in a sec, this operation, along with two other operations that happen in this particular game, are some of my favorite operations ever in a Sly game. Number 11. Operation Wet Tiger from Sly 2. At first, what seemed like another operation in which we was just going to grab a clockwork part and move on about our day, they throw an absolute wrench in the plans of everything. And I mean everything. So, at first, you know, we have to flood Rajan's area so that he will come out of hiding and that we can steal the clockwork heart from him. Right as we're about to fight him, Neela shows up. Oh, Neela. Neela shows up to help us, or at first it seems so. So, when Neela and Sly reach Rajan finally, Sly asks Neela to knock out Rajan. But Neela says sorry and then leaves the area, much to our confusion, and Rajan attacks Sly. Sly falls to the ground, injured badly. So, Murray jumps down to help resuscitate Sly, but then Rajan comes down afterwards in order to stop the gang. Murray's able to defeat Rajan, and just when Neela comes right back and we think she's gonna help us again, she ends up bringing Carmelita and the contester, and it seemed like everything was over for us by that point. But then, Neela betrays Carmelita by saying she was in cahoots with the Cooper gang the whole time. And this is where we truly learn about Neela's character and who she really was. As we see Bentley watching from a distance what's going on and how insane this whole situation has got and how we're about to go down a road we never thought we'd be on. So, as far as this operation goes, it's definitely has its moments of being fun. Like using the crate, even though using the TNT, even though walking the TNT over to the mouth does give me PTSD from the Dawn TNT run mission. at least this one you can get more crates. It's not like, you have to get a specific charge. They just give you multiple crates and you use the one that's necessary to blow up the dam in the area. Also, Rajan's boss fight is kind of fun too, where you punch it with Murray and you can knock him against the electric fence that can really, that can shock him, and you'll have to just get on a leap pad and make sure you're not touching the water, otherwise you're gonna get electrocuted by him. So this operation was overall pretty fun, but it's that twist ending at the end with Neela that really sells this whole operation and what it would mean for the game going forward afterwards. Number 10. Mousetrap from Sly 4. You didn't think we was just gonna let Penelope break Bentley's heart and get away with it, did you? After discovering that Penelope was the one behind the Cooper gang lineage getting compromised, Sly and the gang seek to stop her, but this time, it's personal. The gang goes after Penelope and seek to stop her themselves. Now, I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought this operation was just gonna be another bland operation, but they throw a major curveball at you. And what I was expecting to be just a straight up boss fight with Penelope in like a robot suit, she ends up having this giant robot and literally inside the castle to fight us. And I'm like, what? The fact, it's like she threw, that was such a huge wild card to me when I first played this game. But either way, let's talk about the boss. Let's talk about the boss fight. So Carmelita, Sir Galeth, and Murray end up getting trapped in the cage, and Sly's the only one available to fight Penelope. So the fight goes about as expected in like any type of boss fight. It does have some repetitiveness to it, but it's easily forgiven because they at least try to mix it up with like missiles shooting at you. She has a laser coming at you, and you gotta arrow your way to her arm and then shoot it off with the arrow that you have for the costume in that area. Once you take out both her arms, you gotta go for her chest and take out her chest too. And when that robot completely disintegrates, Sly gets trapped underneath, and Penelope goes to kill him, but that was when our man Bentley decided to come back and save us. And I have to say, I was really proud of Bentley in this moment. I really was, because I know someone like myself who's dealt with heartbreak in my life, I can definitely relate to what Bentley's going through here. So you're really rooting for Bentley to win this fight between him and Penelope. Even though Bentley does try to talk some sense into Penelope, but it's obvious that Penelope doesn't care anymore and she feels that Bentley's too lost to bring back. So Penelope decides that they're gonna make this breakup official. Luckily, with Bentley's able to starve off Penelope long enough to defeat her, and with that, we stop Penelope and we save the gang. And Bentley, I know it hurts, man. I know it hurts, but we gotta get that 5th game. See, this is where I get annoyed, because we need that 5th game to see what happens between everyone afterwards. So, but that's as far as that goes. So this operation to me is a lot of fun, mainly because of what's at stake here and what we're fighting for. Otherwise, this operation could have been just another bland operation for me. But it's the fact that we're fighting for Bentley that makes this operation so personal, and the fact that we're dealing with someone who we trusted and that betrayed us. Number 9. Hippo Drop from Sly 2. This operation right here was my operation for the longest time, but as time passed, it's dropped down a bit on my favorite list, but this is still an operation I love doing every single time. As I stated before in my favorite Sly Cooper missions list, I love the dance sections in Sly because it offers that sneaky element and trying to distract everyone away from the actual operation. So what do we get with Hippo Drop? The first section, we use Bentley to destroy the bridge so that reinforcements can't get there, can't get any more, artillery or heavy power. Rajan sends all the reinforcements over to that area to go check it out. And meanwhile, Sly moves into position and gets his dance with Carmelita. Again, that will they, won't they vibe that this dance gives is absolutely incredible. Like, will they be together, or will their differing sides of the law get in the way? You never know. You just never know. But again, this operation is so... This particular section of the operation is easily my favorite part of the operation. And then, while we're dancing, we see Murray trying to go down and get the clockwork wings while everyone's distracted and gazed on Sly and Carmelita dancing. And if you mess up, the game over screen for that is actually pretty darn hilarious. It really is. But luckily, we're able to distract them long enough so that Murray can get the clockwork wings, and then we leave afterwards. And right when we leave is when everyone notices the clockwork wings are gone. So, and then the last section of the operation, we just have to help Murray get to the van in time before the guards, kill him. Once we do that, we're out of here. Oh, this operation is so much fun to play. And again, that whole vibe with the dance, that dance section is easily my favorite part of the operation anytime we play it. Number 8. Operation Gold Digger from Sly 4. I prefer another train operation that I'll talk about later on this list, but Gold Digger brought back those Sly 2 vibes for me. Only difference is we're doing it in a desert, and it truly does feel like we're in a shootout right now with Toothpick. So, what's the basis of this operation? Well, there's multiple parts to it actually that make it a whole lot of fun. The first part, Murray has to rescue the van so that we can get the treasure on board and get everyone out of there. That's the first part of the operation. Second part of the operation, we have to use Bentley and Carmelita to fight through the train. And so that Bentley can get to the computers and hack them so that Tennessee and Sly can move forward and get closer to Toothpick while also stealing back the gold that Tennessee was supposed to steal. And in the process, Tennessee gets his cane stolen. So Sly is the only one who can move forward now. So Sly meets up with Toothpick, and we're about to get into a boss fight with the two. So, what do I think of this boss fight? I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I'm going to talk about it later on in the top 10 boss fights list, but it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I definitely think, again, boss fights that are repetitive I'm not a huge fan of, but for what this one is worth, it's actually not bad. It actually can get pretty challenging. So once we defeat Toothpick, we're basically free to go, or so we thought. Unfortunately, the train has no dead end to it, so we have to get everyone off board. And while we do manage to do that, unfortunately, the brakes are out on Murray's van, which means that the Cooper gang and Carmelita are gonna die. Luckily, Bentley spots Murray's necklace that he had from his time with the Guru back in the Australian outback, and uses that to save them. Oh, Operation Gold Digger. Man, that was actually a thrill ride. But again, it's not my favorite train operation from Sly. There's another one that will be coming up very shortly that I'm going to talk about. Number 7. Operation Trojan Tank from Sly 2. The one thing about this operation was that, first off, this was very nerve-wracking for me to do this operation, considering what we were dealing with. But on top of that, it's like this operation, I actually ended up liking it a lot more than I anticipated. Because at first, when there's an operation I'm often scared of, I'm very hesitant to like it. But I think it's that enticing fear factor that brings me into anything I'm scared of that makes me love it even more. And if you can really feel that, you could really feel the love and attention and detail that was really put into this operation and the next one after this particular operation too. Trojan Tank, basically we have to break Murray out of jail. So we're between using Sly to climb around the area and activate certain control panels for Bentley to hack into. And, you know, Bentley with the hacking missions, you know, that was a lot of fun to do. And then having to break Murray out of this, you know, this drug-induced rage that he's in by having to destroy all the horns in the area so that he could get out of this hypnotic state. That was a lot of fun too. And, you know, even the part where you have to catch up to the Contessa afterwards, that was a lot of fun too, you know. Even though it's not a, you know, actual boss fight, we get to fight her in the next operation. But for what it was, Trojan Tank was a very good jailbreak operation in my opinion. It was definitely much better than I anticipated it being when I first played it. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. But with what they throw at you, and even though there are bits of the area that I get spooked easily by, it's still a really, really fun operation. And to me, it's one of the more underrated operations in Sly. So just roll with that. Just go with that. If you guys follow me like this, just go with what I'm saying. It's a fun operation that I find is very underrated by a lot of Sly fans. Number 6. Operation Thunderbeak from Sly 2. The first ever Sly Cooper operation, and boy did it set the tone of what Sly Cooper operations was gonna be. This operation has everything you would want in an operation for Sly. You have the sneaking around element, you have, you know, distractions, using your environment to your advantage, sneaking in, trying to steal the item that you want, and on top of that, a little bit of a brawl that's just between you and the enemy you're after. Nobody else, just between you two. This is the prime Sly Cooper operation. Everything about this operation just screams Sly Cooper to me. And on top of that, the person that we have to fight in this area, Dimitri, easily one of the greatest characters in the entire franchise. If you guys didn't watch any of my previous videos on Dimitri, you'll learn about him now, and you're gonna learn about him when I cover my top 10 favorite Sly Cooper characters. So, yeah, this operation, I don't really have much to say on it. It's just like, between using Bentley and Murray to break into the water tower and switch the valves over, and then have them use the truck to bring down the big statue Dimitri to open up the water hole, and then using Sly to climb up the area and then pickpocket the guard and then fight Dimitri afterwards. This operation really sold the whole Band of Thieves vibe, because in Sly 1 you only played as Sly, and on occasion, you know, Bentley and a bit of Carmelita, but not Murray. So this whole operation to me just really sold that whole, like, how the team works together really well, and it would be a staple of what Sly Cooper would be going forward. And that's why I love this operation so much, because of what it laid the foundation for going forward in Sly. Number 5. Operation Choo Choo from Sly 2. Gold Digger's good, this is better. Reason being, 1, the snow environment really sells the whole thieving aspect a lot. 2, the way we have to travel across this train is just so much fun to do. I have even more fun with it than I do in the Gold Digger one in Sly 4. So that also helps. On top of that, we get to use the RC chopper too, which, in all honesty, I think is an underrated tool and gadget in the Sly universe. And again, I'll talk about the gadgets in a future video. But yeah, guys, everything about this operation I just love in general. The environment, how we're using Sly, Bentley, and Murray in this environment, and the fact that the boss fight we have isn't really with John Masson, it's with Neela. And it's just so much fun, this boss fight. You know, having to use the RC chopper to fight her off, and so that we could get Sly closer to the Clockwood stomach. So it's just the whole area of Canada in Canada 1 is easily still one of my favorite worlds to play in, and the operation here only sells that even more. And
I don't know. I don't really have anything else to really say on it. This operation is great. It's a great level. It's a great level design. It's a great fun level. It has great pacing too. The boss fight's actually pretty fun to me, and on top of that, it has a great storytelling element too. So nothing really else to say about it.
Number 4. Operation Canada games from Sly 2. As much as I love the Choo Choo operation, Canada Games to me is a much better operation because of what happens. Canada Games basically has the same thing that Wet Tiger has. It has a twist and unexpected turn in the story that no one would have saw coming. So, what is this turn? Well, let's talk about the operation first. So, in this operation, we basically have to beat Jamba-san at his own game, aka the Canada Games, in which it's basically a log chopping competition where you have to chop down a log as best you can, rock climb a wall as fast as you can, and then stay on board a log as long as you can. If you can do those 3 things, you can win. But there's a problem. You see, Jamba-san is such an intimidating presence to his guards that even when Jamba-san messes up, he still forces his guards to give him a perfect score. Even after we try cheating, and he's cheated his way right back into the matchup, which is ironic. So, again, the Cooper Gang realize that the only way they can beat Jamba-san is by getting rid of the guards and them posing as the judges themselves. So they managed to do that. And then Jamba-san manages to see through the Cooper Gang's disguises. Note, he was the first one to do that. The very first one to see through the Cooper Gang's disguises. So he sees through the disguises and he knocks him out and then takes him over to an area that looks like it's in his cabin somewhere in the second part of Canada. And when Bentley manages to escape, he explains that he stole the Cooper Gang's clockwork parts that they already stolen and sold them to sold them to Arpeggio, who's coming up to pick up the battery, to come and pick up the battery cell. So, the fact that this man managed to see through the gang's disguises and steal all their clockwork parts and sell them to Arpeggio, that is incredible. And to me, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, he definitely could have made my top 10 best Sly Cooper villains list. But the other ones on there I just liked a bit better. But again, if you guys ever do a ranking video of Sly Cooper villains, definitely consider Jamba-san in the top 10 somewhere. He's my number 10 worst, but that's literally the 11th best. That's the way I'm putting it as. But yeah, so afterwards, after Jamba-san runs his mouth too much about how stupid Bentley is, Bentley takes offense to this like Michael Jordan and decides to beat Jamba-san at his own game. Bentley wins the fight against Jamba-san along with a bit of help from Sly and Murray, and the 3 manage to run over to the battery cell in time before the battery cell gets away. So yeah, this operation, there's so much craziness being thrown at you and so many unexpected twists and turns in the story. It's just so great and incredible, and it hypes me up every time I play this operation. Number 3. Turbo Dominant Eagle from Sly 3. I was not expecting anything from Holland to be high on any of these lists, but when I replayed the missions over and over again and I really sat down and thought about it, I have to say, Holland ends up being one of my favorite areas to play in Sly. And that especially includes the operation here. So what do I like about Turbo Dominant Eagle? Well, it has everything. It has everything you could want out of it. So you have Sly trying to sneak above the action. He has to place these trackers on the 4 blimps so that Bentley can use them later when he's in the dogfighting competition. Murray's on the ground, having to rowboat through the area without being seen and knock down this tower that's basically like a control panel for the Black Baron in case he needs backup. What I love about those 2 sections of the operation is that 1, you're literally in the action, but
literally like hiding from it. Like there's so much action going on with the Aces semifinals going on, and then Sly and Murray are both above and below the action where no one can see or spot what they're doing. So that's one of the aspects I love about this operation, is that it's still maintaining that sneaky style-esque. It's still maintaining that sneaky style of Sly, even with the bit of action that's going on in between the middle. So then we move to the part 3, in which we do the aerial dogfight again, and we take down the Black Baron, who, if anybody ever plays the game, here's a hint, it's the black airplane. It's the black airplane, that's the Black Baron. So, afterwards, so once we defeat the Black Baron, he tries to call in his goons to take down Sly's plane, but Bentley's able to disrupt that and ends up winning instead. And ends up helping Sly win instead. But we're not through yet. Black Baron hops on his plane to try to escape, and then Sly hops on the plane too, and the two decide to duke it out. And this is one of the best boss fights out in the entire Sly universe, where, again, I like free-range Sly boss fights in which we can use whatever moves we want to instead of having to just rely solely on a fixed mechanic. So that's another reason why I love this operation so much. And the twist ending, of course, being that the Black Baron is Penelope. Now, at the time, this was like a huge, like, oh man, what did I just see moment. Like, at the time, before I had Sly 2 and Sly 1, this was a huge, like, twist for me growing up playing this game. And luckily, after I got the other 2 games, you know, I learned more about the twist in the other ones, so it was definitely fun. It was definitely... This whole operation in general is just so much fun, and the ending is a nice cherry on top too. And what they got going for the operation is just... It works every single time I play, and I love it. And it's easily a top 3 operation for me. Number 2. Operation High Road from Sly 2. Oh man, oh man, oh man, where do I start with this operation here? So, here's what I have to say about it. I was just expecting another bland operation, and this operation turned out to be one of the greatest and most exhilarating ones in the series. I was completely blown away at how much they threw at me with this operation. So, what happens? The Cooper gang's ready to go. Once they turn off the defense mechanisms, the Neela's tanks, which were hijacked by the Cooper gang, go in and attack Contessa's castle. And afterwards, Bentley and Sly then end up going to the top of the education tower, as to where Murray gets inside a tank and provides supporting power as well. So we get inside the building, and we think that freeing Carmelita and having her clear out the Contessa is gonna make this an easy operation, right? You were wrong. So once we free Carmelita, she chases out the Contessa, and then we blow the fuse that allows us to free the Clockwork Eyes. Bentley manages to have one of the Clockwork Eyes, but then out of nowhere, Neela has the second eye and escapes with it. Sly goes after Neela, and Bentley leaves with the other eye so that he can provide firing power to get rid of some of the planes and provide a better exit for the Cooper gang. Meanwhile, Sly's chasing after Neela, and they chase all throughout the whole area. And it's fun. It was funny because, like, during that whole sequence of events, Carmelita actually came across Bentley and took the eye from him, which means that there's a whole nother situation that we have to figure out. Meanwhile, Sly manages to catch up to Neela, who got trapped in a web, and Sly has the eye. But then Neela gets knocked away by the Contessa, who then tries to fight Sly for the eye. Sly manages to defeat the Contessa, then Contessa tricks him, and then steals the eye back. Now Sly has to chase after the Contessa, while Murray has to catch up to Carmelita, who took the eye from Bentley. And Murray has to chase down Carmelita and shoot down her tank, and luckily Murray's able to get the Clockwork Eye back. And then we have to stop the Contessa again. This time she has to power the eye so that she could try to manipulate us and into defeating us. But luckily, Sly Cooper's mind and willpower is so strong that he's able to defeat the Contessa with the power of the eye. Man, that I need a drink of water after that. But yeah, this whole operation is basically just like you're thrown many different variables when you least expect it, and there's so many instances where we think we finally have it, and then another force from the outside comes in and distracts us afterwards. It's just like this whole operation just really threw me for an entire loop. Like where like you just on something so crazy and mind-boggling. Like if anybody listens to Earl Sweatshirt out there and you listen to his album Some Rap Songs, that's what this whole operation feels like to me. It feels like a whirlwind of craziness and dizziness just happening. It's just absolutely insane. And it's crazy too because it's literally after this particular operation where things start to get very, very dark in the story, and things that were like kind of like you didn't know what was happening finally start to piece together a bit, and you start to realize what's actually going on here. And we're down to the last operation. Now, this operation really holds a special place in my heart, guys. It was the operation that really got me into like story writing and storytelling. Like anytime I made comic books as a kid, this operation was like the prime operation that helped me write some of these comic books that I wanted to write growing up. But without further ado, my number one favorite operation in Sly Cooper is Operation Wedding Crasher from Sly 3. I've never played an operation that had so many elements blended so well together, so perfectly and so balanced. So, this operation here is absolutely great because one, the amount of people that we have working together to make this operation possible is insane. That's number one. Number two, the environment we're in really sells the whole mood of the operation. It's cold. At the same time, you're like on edge about everything because the sunset is like half light, half dark, which kind of to me kind of like gives the vibe gives that vibe of, are we in the clear? Are we not in the clear? You know, like that mentality. Number three, this villain in this area has a huge butt whooping coming for him, and he deserves everything he's getting for all the damage and trouble he caused. And number four, literally trying to see if Sly and the Panda King can work together despite their differences and what each are trying to accomplish going forward. This whole operation just screams being on edge the entire time, and that's why I absolutely love it. So the first part of the operation, Sly has to let Penelope and Murray into General Sal's let's just call it a rich area, and those two have to break through his rich area in order to clear out his treasure, because let's face it, this man's done enough damage to harm enough people for one lifetime. So we're really gonna stick it to this guy. So while that's happening, Sly has to go back to the main palace that General Sal's living in, and then help Panda King and Guru break Jane King free. All the while, Bentley's trying to lure Carmelita into that palace too, so that she can take the place of Jane King instead. See, there's so much happening in this operation, and it's so beautifully executed, and it probably would have went off without a single scratch or hitch in the plan if it wasn't for the fact that Murray did not anticipate how old the whole artifact of Sal's rich area is. So when he does a belly flop, he brings the whole house down, literally. And this screenshot with Bentley just screaming Murray's name, it will never not be funny. Oh my gosh. Like, it is so hysterically funny. And we know General Sal's hugely pissed at this. He's really hot right now. And the fact that the Cooper gang is stealing his treasure too. So he summons a black dragon, which again kidnaps Penelope And now it's up to Sly to free Penelope. And this dragon boss fight, it's not as good as the General Sal boss fight from earlier in the episode, but it's still a fun boss fight for me because we're literally doing an air battle within the air, just like we did with General Sal. And we're able to defeat the dragon, get Penelope, and bring her out. All while General Sal thinks he's won, even though he's actually lost. Ho 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 ho. This operation, man. Everything about this operation just screams Sly Cooper to me. You have the sneaking around, you have being on the edge, and even though you are caught, it does make a lot of sense that you're caught because there was so much happening and you could not give a second to be like lenient or be like, you know, easy because General Sal was that paranoid. And we saw what happens when he gets too paranoid. So, but Operation Wedding Crasher, easily the best Sly Cooper operation, in my opinion. And it's still one of my favorite operations to play. And it's one of the operations that really, really got me into making comic books as I got older. So, it holds a special place in my heart. And that completes the operations video, guys. Oh man, that was a long video, but it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun, guys, talking about these operations. You know, as the video got later, that's when I really started to pick up, you know, the pace a bit because I'm like, these operations, especially in the top 5, like I was really loving these. I was really loving those operations. So, but this is my personal list, you know. As always, I'm so excited to see what you guys have to say in the comment section and what your personal favorite operations are, or what operations you think either deserve more recognition, operations that are overrated, underrated, that you hate. You know, just leave a comment in the comment section below, guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much for 500+ subscribers, guys. We're really starting to grow a bit, and I'm hoping it can continue to grow, so that we can get more content put out for you guys. And as always, it's your boy Lancey, and I'm out. See you guys in the next video, which will most likely be the Sly Cooper guards, or maybe a comic dub, who knows. I'll see you next time, guys.